Welcome, everyone. We are going to be talking about how to not lose yourself while being in a relationship. Just kind of understanding more about what that means. Because a lot of times, like, we get into relationships with this, like, vision and hope in mind of, like, how it's supposed to look. And along the way, we realize that we lost a part of ourselves. And I know personally, I have in several of my relationships, and it's a subject that LANI and I like talk quite often about. Everyone, this is LANI BUESS. She's been my friend for over a decade, and she has also a colleague and works in the coaching industry. If you want to elaborate more on that.
Coaching, primarily imposter syndrome stuff. And I actually do hypnosis a bit and things like that. So
She's very good at it.
I help with with people feeling like a fraud.
Hi guys, nice to see you all.
Hello.
So let's just dive into it. I think I guess I can just start from my personal experience. Like in some of my former relationships, I really feel like in some ways, like, I don't even know if I really, like, knew myself. Like, I knew some parts of my, like, identity.
Yeah.
But it was also, like, I put so much energy into the relationship and, like, what the relationship needed that I didn't realize, like, once it was over, I was like, well, what do I do now? like, who are my friends? You know, like, and then what? And it's almost like this part of, like, what happens, like, we see so often now when people, like, break up. It's like this rediscovery journey begins.
I think it also happens during the relationship. I feel like if the partner knows more of what they want, like, I want this or however their life wants to look.
Mm-hmm.
And it, because for me, I've been sometimes, like, on the fence with that. Like, oh, what do I want really out of, like, life or my relationship? And if someone's more clear about that than I am, then I kind of just go along with the flow of what they want. And then over time, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do I want these things? And, like, I'm just, like, going along, like, with what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, maybe this does not make me happy
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's kind of common if you don't have clarity about, like, your own needs and your own, like, desires and, like, goals or visions in life.
Yeah.
And especially if they don't
align,
mesh. Yeah. Because you've never pondered that for yourself at all. You're just kind of doing what somebody else wants, which I've totally done before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have been, like, the passenger in the ride. And then I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? Like, wait a minute. Like, hold on. Did I want this? Like, was this really, like, but then a part of me, like, it's like, I feel like it's sort of tough because there's this one narrative that you're, like, being fed in life of, like, the happy ending and the vision of, like, a partnership and a family and, like, all of this, you know, of what is successful.
Yeah.
And there isn't a lot of, like, conversation around, like, how it takes work to, like, sustain that while also, like, trying to hold on to yourself, like, hold on to, like, whatever smidget of, like, you is left at the end of the day.
And then I think that it becomes, like, also difficult. I don't know, it sounds bad, but, like, I feel like not everyone's willing to compromise as much anymore. So it's like, I want this. Like, if you can't do that with me, then it's like people are, like, being perceived as, like, interchangeable parts. Then, like, if you can't do that,
right,
I'll get someone else who will. And then it's like, wait a minute, like,
people are becoming more disposable.
Yeah. And then it's like, wait a minute, that's not how a relationship should be.
Right.
It should be like, how do we grow together and what we want, and if those wants can be, like, similar or not.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, a part of it, and I'm sure that this is a factor, but, like, it may have to do also with, like, attachment styles. Like, personally speaking, I think I've been, like, an anxious attachment style person in some of my former relationships because I don't think I really, like, cultivated that part of myself that needed to just feel more like a sense of belonging in the world. And so I found a lot of belonging like in my partners. And when like things changed, or there was like something that wasn't in the way that it was supposed to be, like in the relationship, I would like get super anxious about it. And looking back, now when you read about like attachment styles, and you see like there's the avoidant attachment style and the anxious attachment style, and then they like get together.
Attachment styles.
Yeah,
because I was in the same dynamic, also anxious and always with avoidant.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
it's like exactly what you don't want.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think yours has been?
Mine has definitely been a very similar dynamic. Me being more anxious and them being more avoidant, to the point where like even having conversations, like I wanted to have a conversation and they would like, I need to leave.
Yeah.
Like I need to have space, I need to leave and not talk to you about this right now. And I'm like, what?
That kind of reminds me of like the Queer Ultimatum. With, what's
which one?
Their names. Oh my god, I forgot her name.
Oh, Ray?
Sam.
Oh, I think
and
Ray.
Sam and
Ozzy.
Yes. And Ozzy's like,
and I was
majorly avoidant. She's just like, I need space. Like I can't do this.
Like just even starting a conversation.
Yeah. She just shuts down. She's like,
God bless Sam.
Yeah.
Like what a trooper.
Yeah.
Like just knew how to be calm about it. Just like so adult.
Yeah, but I think also like I find like maybe she was also like more of a secure attachment style.
But also she started speaking up more in the end too.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning she was like not vocalizing as much because she was like, oh no.
That's true. She was saying that, and I think that's also going back to like maybe how she also like compromised her voice in the relationship to the place of like, well, I'm realizing I'm not being myself.
Yeah.
I'm not voicing my needs. I'm just going along with like what Ozzy needs.
Yeah.
You know, what she needs. To the degree where later on when they get back together, she's like, I'm gonna start speaking up and like saying what I want. I was like, oh girl, no, you do you.
And it's so interesting because the other person is like, wow, you've changed as a person completely. And like they almost feel like hoodwinked because they're like, who are you now?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't you to begin with, but that really was the person.
Yeah.
It's just like wanting to feel safe to be that person. That's the thing. I think there's an element of being emotionally safe with your partner, knowing that you can be yourself.
Or you can also be emotional about things.
Yeah.
Like be a human and feel a certain way about something, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of the couples that I see that work, that I go, God, they can really be themselves, messy and all.
Yeah.
And like the other person understands their partner so well and doesn't take it personally.
Yeah.
And just goes, oh, they're in a moment right now.
Right.
It's
like,
not about me.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the L Word episode that I liked, that I was about to say.
Yeah.
With Tina and Bet in the freezer on their wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bet trying to hold her shit together because Bet is known to be the angry, reactive one.
Right.
And then many years, many seasons of her like going to like ashrams to like zen out and like trying to be more of like not emotionally reactive. And there's that moment when Tina's losing her mind because it's their wedding day, trapped in the freezer,
Mm-hmm.
and Bet's like the ultimate adult trying not to react.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tina's like, you can let loose, kind of. And then Bet's like, no, I've worked so hard not to.
Yeah.
And then the beautiful moment was Tina was like, I never had an issue with you being the way you were.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then Bet loses her fucking mind and just like, it's like, get us out of here.
Yeah.
And it's like that moment. I was like, God, those are like, it's a TV show.
But that's also like her
like,
strength too. Like
yeah.
that's part of Bet's like skill set in a way. Like,
or like Tina's skill set.
True.
Just being really like chill, like knowing how to handle, like this is Bet. Just like I accept her for who she is, even though it's a little messy.
Yeah.
Like that. It's pretty. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's when someone has a really strong sense of self. When they can say, hey, I know my partner so well. I know like what they need right now, giving them space for that moment, even though it might not look like perfect. It might be messy. They might not say the right things at the moment. Giving them that space and know it's not about me.
Right.
And like that's fucking rare now, I feel like. And there's an element of now like everyone just has to be so much better. Be a better human. Like try better, be a better person, be more accountable, which is important to grow and change. But there's a moment is like, when are you washing away your personality to be so evolved? And when can you just be accepted for the person you are?
Well, that just like takes time, I think, and like unconditional love and like unconditional acceptance. Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like, how many people are willing to give time away these days? Like everything is just so fast paced and like moves so quickly, and also this idea that like, if this doesn't work, I can just get back on a dating app and I can meet someone else. And, like people will become like we're just disposable to each other. And the truth is like, it's not really like that. Like they're like, we're humans and like we deserve, just because like you don't necessarily know where something is going to end or like the result of it is, it's like at least treating someone with kindness and like dignity. But yeah, I mean, I think like I look back on like at this point, like I feel like in my life, like looking now, I feel like more myself than I feel like I've ever been. And that took like also like not being in a relationship and realizing that as much as I wanted like that relationship to work out for me, it was not like the right relationship. And we were just like talking about this earlier about like sometimes like two people can just be the wrong for each other, but be so right for like someone else. Like you could just not be a match, and then meet someone else and it just is effortless and it flows and it has its things that like you didn't, not to compare, because like obviously every relationship is different, but sometimes like it took like realizing that like, you know what, I'm in a place where I'm finally ready to let this go. Because I had this deeper knowing that like, you know what, there's got to be something greater for me on the other side of this. And I know that like love does not look like this for this long. I'm not going to be in this for suffering for fucking ever. I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to like recycle my past. Like growing up with like dysfunctional parents, like having this like unhealthy view of love, and then have that also like be put onto my descendants. Like, I don't want to like do that. I want to like change it.
I think that's also important to not like compare. Like, a lot of people can easily go, oh, I'm in this relationship now and I'm comparing it to my last relationship or my last partner, and that's dangerous.
1,000%.
It's so dangerous.
It's so dangerous. Yeah.
Because then you're like gonna sabotage that like right away.
It's a trap.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because they're incomparable. Like what? So there's good qualities in the person that you're with now, and if you are really missing that relationship, then maybe you need to take the time to grieve it. Instead of getting into the next one and glorifying it and thinking that this is the one for you because they fit all of these boxes, but yet there's other things that are missing or that they don't do that your last partner did.
I don't know if you're finding this, but I'm finding this and I'm being really cognizant of it. But like, I can literally see that how different my current older self is in relationship to my younger self. And it's like, I'm like proud of myself now. Like in the sense like, wow, when I was younger, I was like so insecure. I'd kind of like allow a lot of like red flags, like to like, that's fine. And like now I'm like so much more discerning.
To tolerate all the red flags.
That I would just be like, whatever. And like, and then now I'm just like, oh no, like LANI, that's not what you want. Like that's not like the dynamic that you want. Like even on apps, it's sort of like, like personally for me, I'm not like ethical non-monogamy. Like, good for you, not for me.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, just like, I now know, like, to filter. Otherwise, my younger me would be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why not? Let's try it out.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
you'd be like, wait a minute. Like, no, these are certain things I know currently that it's not like what I want, you know? But like my younger son would let so much slide.
Yeah.
And I think because that's like insecurity as well. And like, I feel like as you get older, you just know yourself better.
I mean, I think also it's like knowing like what you need.
Yeah.
You know, because if you know your needs, like there's not going to be anyone who's going to fulfill all of our needs.
Yeah.
Not even our parents fulfill all of our needs.
Yeah.
You know, and so the reality is like they're not going to do that for us. No one, and there's not going to be any partner that's going to do that for us either.
Yeah.
But there has to be a point where you also are willing to fulfill some of your own needs. Because like there's no way that like you're going to be able to stay in something long term and expect that this person's just going to be capable for the next 30 years of your lifetime, that like they're going to always serve that one need like the same way all the time. Like, yes, there has to be like an opportunity of growth where like you're willing to confront yourself if you're not like fulfilling like each other's needs in that way. But it's unrealistic to think that like, yeah, this person's going to be the person who's going to like, you know, give me the sex that I want every week the way that I want it.
We're getting to learn a lot about Emily's intimate life right now.
Like, or that,
These are the real conversations we have off lives.
But like, you know, or just like that they're gonna make me the food that I like the way that I like it.
How we similar topic, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
But I mean, actually, couples have a lot of like trouble like even with sex. Yeah, like that is sometimes a major thing that comes up in a lot of relationships. It's the sex life, like that is intimate, you know. And so, anyways, back to what I'm saying is that
what do you really want to say?
I'm saying that sex is important in a relationship and that it should be cultivated and sustained long term.
Agreed.
Yeah. And you know, I get it if like somebody maybe has a different sex drive than the other.
This is specific, I feel like.
This is a side note.
I feel like this is very specific.
This is a side note.
Is it a side note? Or is it more particular? I mean, I think it's very important, but yes.
But like you need to fulfill some of your own needs. You fulfill
sexually too, you could.
It's good. To a degree.
Fine.
You know, to a degree. Sure.
Yes. But I feel like in a way we're saying like and maybe this is not what you're saying, so you can clarify. Like, this is not about the sex, but which is very important. But like, we can't constantly like strive for or want that external validation because we have to also satisfy our own needs. Like, we can't just expect someone else to always right, like make us happy because we all have to be happy on our own as well.
Here's a good example. Say that your partner or your lover calls you every day at the same time. Or like they text you
my mom.
every day at the same time. Good morning, baby. Right? And then one day they don't.
Oh yeah. And then anxious attachment.
And then the anxious attachment styles are like, oh, why did they text me? Oh my god.
Like, are they gonna
And the avoidant attachment styles just keep going with their day. The secure attachment style people will be like, hey, is everything okay? Is everything all right? I didn't hear from you this morning.
Is that secure or is that anxious?
No, that's secure because you're just checking in.
Yeah.
Because you know that there's a consistent pattern.
And you're not thinking they're dead, right?
Right. You're not like, oh my god, or wait, maybe this person's cheating on me.
Ooh, yeah.
Or maybe they just lost interest. or like
wild stories.
Yes,
that he
yes.
created.
The anxious attachment people go wild in their
Oh
imagination.
God, I remember being younger, and I would have the
remember
most
being
insane. I remember being young, so long ago. But having wild fucking stories in my head.
Yes, the narratives.
Wildest, weirdest scenarios.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
God, those are stressful times.
They're stressful. Yes, exactly. But that's an example of like, and it's a common example actually in our culture or our society today, especially now with smartphones and social media. Is like when you don't get
the devil's gadgets.
Yeah, when you don't get that text and you don't get that like consistency going.
Yeah.
Then someone, depending on their personality type or their attachment style, like might go a certain road with that. They're going to make a narrative in their story and they're going to go with that. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to fulfill your need of like, we typically talk every day and we typically have this good morning conversation. Are you going to leave it up to that person? Or are you also going to stay true to what is your value in that moment? It is like connection to the other.
Or we can just blame technology.
Right, but then you're still living in the unknown. We don't know what's going on.
But yes, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that's also comes down to like communicating better.
Right.
Like we don't communicate
No,
better.
we make up
challenge.
mad stories.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
About each other.
Yeah, that is true.
Even with our families.
Yeah, mostly with our families and friends.
Yeah. I mean, not so much with my friends, but I mean, I think in the past I would make up stories about like my friend, like my family sometimes in the past. But, and partners, because I got cheated on, and I remember like after being cheated on, it just went on with me in all my relationships. And that was also like a process of like, sometimes people are just not willing to go through your shit with you. You know?
Yes.
They're not willing to like help be there. You could be a good partner, you could have all these great qualities, but you also have this one thing where like you have a scar of when you got cheated on by someone you really deeply loved. And that kind of clouds your vision for a while. And you can be in therapy and you can be doing all the things, but you also need to be in a relationship to like kind of practice the tools that you learn in therapy.
I honestly think that you grow more as a person in relationships than you do by yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're like constantly having these interactions and connections and having to communicate really well or learn to communicate better.
Or disastrously.
Yes.
And then you go back.
But that needs to happen too.
Yeah.
That totally needs to happen too.
Yeah.
But I think you said something really poignant in the fact that like there's certain partners willing to go through those challenges with you, and some people who just don't.
Yeah.
It's no fault of their own, but like, and that's, I think sometimes that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah. I mean, you're not
the right partner.
Yeah, you're not going to meet like the perfect person that's going to, check off all the boxes. But
God damn it.
I mean, because you probably don't check off all the boxes.
I'm kidding. But, exactly.
But in a way, like you're going to like, the idea is that you can meet someone that you can grow with.
Yes, evolve with.
And also be able to still hold on to yourself and like the things that bring you joy and also a part of like your identity.
Yeah.
Like and that might take some time also. Like sometimes people get in relationships, and they have to find their identity while also being in a relationship. And that's hard because there's like a balancing act going on between, I don't really know who I am, but I'm also like, don't want to lose this person because they mean so much to me. And so how do I balance the energy between like giving to the relationship and then trying to figure out who I am? Like, what's my identity now?
Right. And I think that's where like, am I okay to be independent in this relationship or not? And I think that's like an important factor of like having that balance, going, I'm going to do my hobbies, hanging with my friends, and the partner might not be there, because you need to have like, and having a partner that's like totally cool with that as well. Like you still maintaining that independence and, growing your interests, doing your thing. Yeah. If that's the dynamic that is needed for you to thrive, and like, there's a lot of factors in play.
I mean, it takes work. It really takes work to be involved intimately with somebody, and then how do you hang on to yourself or hang on to the relationship?
I think most people just give it up. But then there's like, people have rekindled that.
Sure.
So it's like for them that the emotional connection is still really strong and they can recapture that.
Yeah, slowly through different practices. Yeah, that's true. Man. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
a big conversation.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Does anybody want to say any comments on there?
I don't know.
Comments on this live? I don't know how this thing works. We have a lot of people joining in.
Waving.
Aw.
As living in the unknown.
So true.
Oh, the T wanted to come on. He sent a request to be in the video.
He's like, oh no.
He said, hello, quit ignoring me. Sorry, I didn't see you in there, buddy.
Oh my God, I love it.
Hello.
Thanks for joining all these people.
He said, look at the comments and answer my FaceTime. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Appreciate it.
Feel free to comment later if you have questions or want to share.
I love that.
We're going to save this and upload it probably. If you guys want to know more about LANI, you can find her on Instagram, LANI BUESS, BUESS.
I think on Instagram it's more complicated. LANI _R_B.
I think you can just find you under your name, no?
I don't even know, probably.
Okay.
You can find me through Emily.
You'll find her on there.
Yeah.
And you guys have my information on my Instagram at emilysjoya.com. All right, thanks for watching.
Thank you.